time.
A little jump or something I call the wintertime blues.
That's right. John Hyatt, master of disaster. So I'm looking at, I don't know if I want to talk about this or not. I'll talk about it. What the fuck? I will say that I'll be rawly honest, rawly to the point of uncomfortably honest in this segment for as we wrap it up tonight. There has been the transition to this has been bumpy at times, and not an easy transition for me at first because you were getting a regular paycheck, and now all of a sudden you weren't getting a regular paycheck, right. And everything was falling on you. And it only reminded me because I didn't turn on the cameras the last set, but things have taken a drastic, almost 180 turn with the podcast, which I had a feeling it would have. And I would believe that one of the keys to success in life for anybody, for anything, is persistence and consistency. Persistence and consistency. Are you going to hit a home run every night? No. But that's okay. Just show up and be there. And because of the people that have continued to download the podcast and it has continued to grow, it's fantastic. For as far as podcasts go, I mean, depending on who you talk to, I think, again, like the OnlyFans, you hear the people who are getting these $100 million deals, but we've been able to do something that I don't know anybody else who has done it. I don't personally know anybody. I know people who've gone and done and left media to try to start their thing. They haven't done it. I talked to somebody who was at a level in radio today, that was at a level in radio that very, very, very few ever reach. They know the success and the amount of money that this person made in the radio medium was in the multi-millions of dollars, and
which is nearly unheard of.
Oh, nearly unheard of. So, and now they're doing the podcast thing, and we were kind of talking, and they're going to be part of another project that I'm doing. But all this stuff, like in the last month, has just flipped. And tomorrow we'll tell you more about it on a 420 show. But I got to get a little more like control on these things because there's a TV deal now.
Whoa!
I closed a TV deal today.
Nice, Billy. Congratulations.
Yeah. So it will be available in like 147 countries and all.
Do we have to learn other languages?
No, nothing like that. So all this stuff has been, there's been a lot of things like that. So I'm just going to start tightening down who's on and who's not.
Okay.
I have to do that.
All right.
Because it isn't going to work.
You're going to leave?
Nope. Nope. It's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying at all. I'm just tightening it down.
Oh, so when you said it was an uncomfortable segment, well, I thought maybe.
I just think like.
Dan, you're fired.
No.
You've been a great addition to the show, but you're fired.
But I mean, in terms of that, like I can't just, there's been a lot of people that have come through here.
This could be a circus.
I've just let anybody come on, or anybody says, "Hey, I want to." No, not anymore. Nope.
Okay, all right,
can't happen. And
really cracking the whip.
Well, it's not really cracking the whip. It's just tightening things down and having things better. I've over the last week, just to let people know, I've spent a ton of money. There's new marketing things. If you go to the Red Wings games, you will see the Billified stuff.
You got your own Visa card endorsement now.
Which, by the way, as somebody said, it is not. They do things in the media called trade. It is not a trade deal. We are paying for that. The TV thing is not a trade deal. They came to us. It's all this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, behind the scenes, there's new lights, new cameras. We're getting more cameras in here. Wall things are going to be changing. I had meetings about that. And so there's just been a lot of stuff, but a lot of great stuff, just really cool things. And then I've also kind of changed where I think that sometimes when your life changes drastically, and I will tell you that you are responsible for everything that happens to you, whether you like to hear that or not. Whatever happens to you is pretty much your fault, even if you want to say what. Now, What are you attracting? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? All that stuff. Because I believe I will tell you, after watching the eclipse more than anything, and that's really, honestly, Dan, since then till now is when everything has kind of shifted.
Through the clouds, you saw the eclipse, Billy.
No, what I saw was...
I was joking.
What I saw was, in all seriousness, was I saw something that we had no control over, and we didn't have to worry about. And we don't have to worry about the sun coming up, and we don't have to worry about anything. And I'm realizing that as you would say God is always there for you, I will say that God or infinite intelligence or source or whatever you want is it, you are it. You are it. That you are. And you have the power. And you have all that. And all this was created, and it is evolving. It is changing. Like I say, and the reason I say that, at least in my thinking, is nobody comes here and starts over. Everybody picks up where you left off, and you didn't bring anything with you. You didn't truck in anything you needed. You came here, and it was everything you need to have a successful life is right here on this planet, wherever you are. What your thoughts are determines how successful or not successful that life is. And the universe will support you. You are loved. You are loved so unconditionally that it will support you in whatever you believe. If you believe you don't have enough money, it will support you. If you believe you are the richest, most intelligent person in the world, you will believe. And if you don't believe that, I don't care what anything, I will say, who was a leader in the world that told everybody everything was huge, wonderful, great? Who is that guy?
Donald Trump.
Yeah. And does everything seem to work out for Donald? Like him or not, I don't give a shit. Take that away. Does not everything seem to work out? Every time people will try to trip him up or do whatever. You can say it's wrong. You can say it's right. You can say he deserves to be in court. He doesn't deserve. I don't know. And that's not what I'm saying. But more often than not, does everything seem to kind of go his way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I really think that it has to do with whatever you believe, you will be supported in that belief. That's what I think. And I've really thought that ever since. And I don't know why I got on this odd tangent. But so in that, I think that when you have these major life shifts, when all of a sudden things, I'll call it not coming out of the blue, but out of the oblivion. You were oblivious to it. And all of a sudden now your source of income's gone. You still have bills to pay. You have children. You have people that are depending on you. You've got a lot of money that's got to go out, and what are you going to do? And I had an option. I could have gone to Chicago and done afternoon radio, and I chose not to because music radio isn't what it used to be. It's just not, right? Talk radio is probably okay, but that's not.
There's a chasm between the two.
Right, and it was like you could do this, but I'm also, I mean, just being honest, I'm not 25, right? So you got to go and start over somewhere. I'm like, fuck it. I'll start over and bet on me. I'll bet on me. I'll start over and bet on me. And it was at times, I will say that it was mentally one of the hardest times I have gone through in my life. Getting this to where it is today has been one of the most challenging and psychologically difficult things I've ever gone through. And I've decided after watching the eclipse, I go, fuck it. It's worked. It's worked so far. Nothing. I haven't missed a beat. I have child support payments and maintenance payments and college payment. I haven't missed a beat. I haven't. I have rent. I have nothing. Nothing. Everything. So clearly it'll all work out. And I thought, fuck it, man. I want to go. I'm going to go have a summer. I'm just the summer of George. But I'm going to do everything. That's why I just went and I just bought I bought cameras that will never be really in this studio. They're for other projects that I don't even know how to operate.
Yeah.
I don't have no idea.
She'll figure it out.
I called the guy today and go, hey, I want to do this project. He goes, great. When? Shoot me some dates. And I'm in. I go, well, the Stones are playing. I'm going to the Stones. I'm either going in this city or this city. Already all set with the people I'm going with. Done. But if I'll go in this city, if these dates work for you, or I'll go in this city. Mm-hmm. I'll go to this conference if these dates work for you, because I'm going to double up on it. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm not going to, And I think sometimes you don't need to be mean, but I think that there are two things I would tell people after going through all this. Nobody thinks about you as much as you think they do. Nobody.
That's true.
And I don't mean that in terms of they don't care. Take that away. People care.
But they're not like,
but
we always assume that they're thinking negatively.
Yes. They don't.
They don't. You really don't enter their minds.
Even if they say one shitty thing about you, believe me, there's going to be other things that distract them, and you're going to say something shitty about. So just stop.
Yeah.
Number one.
It doesn't matter.
Stop worrying about what you look like, what other people are saying. Just go do whatever you want to do. Because here's what I've realized, and this is I really, really believe this. The only thing you have is right now. That's it. This moment, that's it. That's all. This is the only thing. What is in the past is in the past. And you can't recreate anything from the past. And what's coming up, we don't know yet. It's free beer tomorrow. It's always coming and never here. You know what I'm saying? So all you got is right now. So in this moment, I would tell you, whatever you want to do, and it feels the best, if it just inspired, and I would say instead of feels the best, I wouldn't say go do a line of blow all for vacuuming your living room. You know, what I'm saying is think about the satisfaction, but whatever in the moment you're inspired to do, even just a little bit more than something else, go do that. Do it to the fullest and don't worry about the outcome. Everything will work out. Because if you stop worrying about where the money's going to come from, just go do it. It will work out. And that's kind of what I've really, really was almost like standing at Innovative Field watching that. That is exactly what I thought. That is exactly what hit my head. And I went, okay, fuck it. I'm just going. And I'm not going to be dictated and told I got to do that. No. I'm just doing it. I'm doing it. Now, I already have a little of that in me because we wouldn't be sitting here now if I didn't. Mm-hmm. However, at the same time, to go even to the next level, and you just don't need to be negative about it. Just keep the positive. This is going to work. I'm so excited to do this because I believe me, it'll happen.
Can I tell you a story?
Sure.
Involving you. 2008, I was thrown in your lap to be part of a show, and I was just trying out to be part of the show, which ended up becoming The Break Room, and it was you and Tommy and several other people. And I had come from talk radio, sports talk radio and news talk radio, so I had a different skill set coming into the show. And the one thing that, like, there was always chaos, and I'm not just talking about the show, I'm talking about your personal life. 7 o'clock in the morning, you get a phone call. Life is falling apart. It would happen at least twice a week for 6 years.
I'm glad you saw that. I'm glad there were witnesses to something.
Yes, and I could write a novel. And the thing is that you always handled it with a smile on your face. You were so calm. And I always was like, how does he do that? And the two phrases that you always told me during those times, because, man, I was like a walking head case, and I fully admit that. I did not have the emotional intelligence, we could call it now, to be in radio at that point. I just didn't have it. Even at 28 years old, I didn't have it. But the two things you always said that struck me, that stuck with me, is if I continue to do what I've always done, I will continue to get what I've always gotten.
Yeah.
Look where we are now, number one. Number two, if you want to do something, you'll either find a way or you'll find an excuse.
Right.
If you want to, you will.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. Like, wanting is not a wish. It's an action.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck out in my mind.
So here's where I would say my thought on that evolved. If you want to, you will. And when you're inspired enough, you'll do it. Mm-hmm. Inspired enough, not that you're not going to be maybe a little nervous about it and all, but like you're just like, yeah. And when you take that, like I'll tell you, I have talked about a project for years, not during the podcast. I have talked about doing a project, a separate podcast, for years. Literally, I got to say, probably 8-9 years I've talked about doing this. And then this happened, and I thought, well, now's the time. And then I was talking to one other person about it, and they said, you should do it like this. And I'm like, oh, my God. Well, how the fuck am I going to do that? They're like, you got to turn it into a docu-series. I'm like, a docu-series? I don't know. How am I going to do this? And so then I sat on that for a while. And then kept talking to the person, and they go, if you should get this camera, and you should get these different mics, and you should do this, and you should get these lights, and you should do. And I'm like, how am I going to get that? How is any of this going to work? And once I stopped doing that, and I thought, you know what? This feels right, and I like it. Oh, that actually looks good. And sometimes I would just sit, and I would daydream about it.
Yeah.
I would daydream about doing this. And I'm like, well, all right. And all of a sudden, somebody's talking to me, and they're like, hey, will you do this podcast for me? And blah, blah, blah. I go, yeah. And they're like, how much do you charge? And I said, I'm not going to charge you. I'm not. We'll just do it. Because I'm not a production house, really. I've got my own projects.
Mm-hmm.
So they said to me, all right, well, let's, is there anything you need? And I go, yeah. And so these little mics came in, and then I went and bought the lights, and then we did this. And so slowly things started to come together. And then I'm like, all right. And I secured more funds and things. And I go, I'm going to buy that camera. And then it was today I picked up the phone and I go, this is the person I really want to be my first guest. And I don't know why. I'm sitting in
that intuition.
My home office, and I called, and the person answers and says, hey, Bill. And I'm like, holy shit. Now, I don't know that they have my phone number, but now don't forget, digitally, phones will tell you who's calling if you have that on app on or whatever. So, and we talked for a long time and set it up. And I'm like, so I'm just saying, like, all this stuff that sounds like stand, on your left foot with your right hand, raise a crystal to the moon and bark 3 times, voodoo, it's not. This shit works, but you've got to get out of your own head and just go and stop getting caught up in what other people are going to think, what other people are going to say, what other people feel about you. They don't care enough. Believe me, they don't. And anybody who is all caught up in that drama, Danny, you brought up something earlier today where I talked to you about somebody when I left CMF and I went to the drive, and they said, and I said,
they made up a story.
And I started laughing, and I said, that drama I would get so caught up in is so nothing.
Yeah,
it means,
it's so minuscule.
It means nothing. And, a lot of times when we were doing the break room, I just didn't pay attention to that stuff. I wanted to focus because I needed to make money for my family. And the family shit was more, that stuff could be silly as long as no one was dead or bleeding. I was okay. And it was a great relief. I loved doing the show because I was hanging. It was like going to a bar with my buddies and talking shit. Although I really prepared to go to that bar and talk shit every day. But that's what it was like. And so for me, it was great. And even now, and that's why I would say, like, but stop worrying about what other people are thinking, because that's what's going to hold you back. Don't worry about what your mom says, or your dad says, or anything. Just go do it. Like this woman who we talked to with the OnlyFans. They stop making fun. At what dollar amount do they stop making fun of you at?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Is it $10,000 a month? Is it $30,000 a month? Is it that I own a 2-bedroom condo
in the north side of Chicago,
in a high-end part of Chicago? I mean, where is it? And I think that's a great thing for people to, if you want to take the mumbo jumbo stuff that I'm saying, if you feel like that's what it is, but put it to that. Stop worrying about go do what you're inspired to do. But I would say action's great, but action can feel tiring and exhausting. Inspired action doesn't. You could go all day long. You're like the fucking Energizer Bunny. You're excited to do it. You're excited to wait. I'm more excited to wake up these days. I wake up before my alarm by a half hour every day. Every day. I just wake up. Ever since my fucking head has changed. Just saying.
It's
but
watching you do this, and I'm so glad that you and I have been able to reconnect, and I could be part of this.
Yeah, well,
you and I had worked together in like 7-8 years at that point when you brought me on. I was like, awesome. But I'll tell you what, there's like 4 things that you've kind of espoused that makes sense. You ever read the book, The 4 Agreements?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never read the book, but I know what the 4 agreements are, and all you need to know is what the 4 agreements are to understand it, okay? And I watching the show Barry. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. There's a book called The 4 Agreements. And one of the criminals in the he's running a drug kingpin, but he's comedically talking about how people need to follow the 4 agreements.
Yes.
And the first one is be impeccable with your word.
Yes.
Meaning don't lie,
don't
or at
lie.
least, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Number 2, don't take anything personally, because whatever you're taking personally is some delusion in somebody else's head. It's got nothing to do with you. It's somebody else's thought, somebody else's feeling. It's got nothing to do with you.
It doesn't.
So let them think that.
It doesn't.
Number 3, don't make assumptions. In other words, always tie up loose ends.
Yeah.
And number 4, whether you're sick, laying in a bed, or whether you're feeling great, always do your best.
Yeah. I would think that all that stuff is, while it sounds basic, is very true. I would say the first one is, we live in a world of vibration. You tune into TV stations, radio stations, satellite stations, but you tune in. I can't hear what's happening on Classic Rewind if I'm listening to Howard Stern.
Mm-hmm.
I can't listen to John Mayer's Life channel if I'm listening to the break.
Kelly Clarkson's channel.
Kelly Clarkson's channel, which is actually not bad.
Yes, no.
So I'm just saying, like, you can't, right? But so tune into what you want. There are different vibrations. There's of anything, but I would say they've done studies, and the greatest vibration, and to your point of choose your words carefully, is authenticity. When you are authentically yourself, it is the greatest vibration, and it is more attractive. It's more attractive for everything. Everything.
I know I can get off on a tangent every once in a while, but I'm me.
But right. But when you are authentically yourself, it is that's it. And I think a lot of times we're afraid to be ourselves. We try to be something for somebody else. We try to be one thing for our boss, one thing for our parents. We talk to everybody differently. I think if you can be more authentically yourself, your life would be much, much easier. And nothing has to be this hard. Nobody needs to be that kind. You can, navigate and stay away from things that just don't feel right, and use your intuition. That would just be my 2 cents on all that. So
but this has been a blast, and it's getting better, and it's getting bigger.
Tomorrow, it will be talking a lot about weed because of 420, but we'll also tell you about the TV deal that we are finalizing.
Also, the new Pearl Jam album comes out Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
New Music Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Music Friday. So I always listen to New Music Friday on Tuesday. By then I get to digest it and hear it. For Dan Barillo, I'm Bill Moran, and we'll tell you tomorrow about our TV deal on the Roku channel. Get ready.
Woo!
Get ready.
Talking about a dragnet up on the